couple background questions before we get into this. There is a tshuva in the Nota B'Yehuda, Siman Kaf-Chet, where he asks a fundamental kind of question. Why not ask a goy to taste it? Why don't we just ask a goy, taste the meat, taste the klipa, do you taste milk in it, in other words, and then if he doesn't, then it's mutter. He answers, he sort of answers, Ein hachanami, you could ask a goy. But this Gemara is talking about a case of min b'mino. Of course, the milk and meat, I don't know how he's going to explain the milk and meat. The Aruch HaShulchan, what? So the Aruch HaShulchan has a better answer. What?
I was going to say it's the udder, it's not the udder the only part that could be
the udder. Okay. I didn't, right. But he says, Ein hachanami, you could, and this is only when it's min b'mino and it's the same taste, then you can't use a goy. In other words, the question is an essential question. Even if you could taste in milk and meat. As you could say, well, the case is milk and meat. But remember, they have an essential machloket. Is it Tata Gavar or Ilah Gavar? And that would apply everywhere, even in cases of min b'mino, and we can't determine it in min b'mino, so therefore we have a machloket. Okay, but let's look at the Aruch HaShulchan now. So I sent you to look at the Aruch HaShulchan. So let's look at the Aruch HaShulchan Chet. So that I sent you, if you have it, or have it another way. Aruch HaShulchan Sadi Aleph Halacha Chet Halacha 8. He says like this: V'da, you should know, sheyesh be'inyan zeh the Tata Gavar she'ela gedola achat. Hare. Okay, there's a big question over here. Hare kaimalan b'siman Sadi Chet b'kol isurin shenitarev b'heter demi ikar dina de Gemara hu sheyitamenu kefela. The Gemara's essential law is that you should have a Gentile taste it. Im yesh ba haheter tam isur im lav. He'll tell you if there's the tam of isur or not. V'ken chalav basar, and also by basar b'chalav. Kimuvu arsham. V'im kain ma shayach lachkor im tata gavar or ilah gavar. Why do we care about this question? We can just always rely on a goy. So not if you could have said his answer, well, you can't always rely on a goy. It could be min b'mino. Uplugtahi b'gemara psachim. That's our Gemara. Yitamenu kefela im yesh tam basar b'chalav o chalav basar asur. What is this bright that makes no sense? Just ask a goy if there's a taste of basar b'chalav or not, and we would know who's right. B'kol inyan. And he says v'im lav mutar b'kol inyan. And if there's no flavor, then it'll be mutar in all matters. V'nehi de l'shitat Rashi shemevuar b'tur sham lo kasha klal de te'imat kefela lo mahane. Remember, if you remember way back when we learned Sarichet, Rashi holds that te'imat goy is not enough. Ela biyoter b'shishim mishishim. Rashi says that you need always 60 also. So te'imat goy wouldn't. But that's a side point. Aval b'pachot mishishim. But if there's not shishim, im af im ein tam as oser shapir nechlaku b'zeh. Then I can understand this machlok according to Rashi. Kisha ein kan shishim v'kaim elan tata gavar aval l'shita tari. But according to Riv ha'rosh sham de b'kol inyan mahani kafei lakasha. But according to everybody else, not like Rashi, as most people hold, that once you taste it, it's mutter, and that's the Shulchan Aruch paskins like that. So why do we have to decide Tata Gavar, not Tata Gavar, Ilah Gavar? Just taste of it by a goy. And right, and yeah.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand meant goy. I thought it meant a chef, a chef who happens to be one. Am I right?
You're right. It means a chef. Sorry, it means a chef. But if it's an Isser, you can't be a Jewish chef because he's not allowed to taste it. So it's a Goyish chef. So I'm sort of just being, I'm cutting to the chase. In other words, ultimately it's a Goy. And the Gemara says, Kafela Arama.
The question though is, you're aligning a subtlety that's in the Gemara, which is that it's a Goy who knowledgeable as opposed to a random goy. Because there's another sheet that says you want the Seif Lefi Tumo, that somebody... Right. Yeah.
Definitely.
So I guess request that you can be more precise in translations.
Okay, fine. But I'm not sure that he is precise. I'm not sure that the Aruch HaShulchan in his, 19th century Eastern European world, when he says kafela, it's true he means chef, but he doesn't mean a Jewish chef. He is assuming goy. In his lingo, that means a goy. You're saying, but a well-trained goy. Fine, a well-trained goy. That's the point. Sorry, so I'll be more precise. Anyway, it's a theoretical question. So he says, so in Tet he's going to answer this question. I think. Tet. Ubipshuto yesh lomar kagon deleke kafela. He says, well, I could just say there's no chef around. Velo nira, but that doesn't make sense. Velo nira ken. Amnam be'emet ha'inyan ken hu dene'amanuta kafela eno ela kisheyesh bivadai is. Oh. He says, here is the true explanation. That which we rely, he says, he's now laying on you a huge rule, or a klal, it's kind of a lumdish klal. He says, ne'amanuta kafela, the veracity of a kafela, or the ability to rely on his tasting. Eino ela kisheyesh bivadai iser. It's only when we know we have an iser.
Why?
Ela bivadai iser lefi kabbalat Chazal, according to Chazal. What do you wait? Aval b'makom. But let me just finish. Aval b'makom the leka iser. But when there's no iser lefi hakabbalah. But if the Torah Shabbat Peh would tell us that there's no iser here, eino ne'aman. He isn't believed. Halamazed demeh lekli sheni. Another the lerova poskim eino maflitu mavliya, or kli shlishi lekola poskim. Kli shlishi does not cook. Ve'im yavo hakfela v'yomar sheyesh bezet tam iser. If he says, well, wait a second, I can taste the pork that was in your kli shlishi. And as you have a kli shlishi that was used for pork, and now you cook some water in it. He says, I can taste that pork coming out of the kli shlishi. Lo nashgiach bo. We will not pay any attention to him. He cannot tell us that there's an isser when the halacha, the Kabbalah of the Mesorah, the traditionist, tells us that there's no cooking there. Lo nashgiach bo bichlala. No, bichlala biyadenu. De'ein akum ne'aman lahatir velola esur. He is not believed to permit or forbid. V'hachanami. Okay, so in other words, if the rabbis have told us that kli sheni doesn't, or kli shlishi doesn't cook, then no goy can tell us otherwise. If that is our Kabbalah biyadenu, that he's not believed for that. It's interesting. He sort of sounds like he might be saying that a Jew might be believed. Wait, did he use the word kafela? Now I'm nervous. He used go, didn't he? Shum akum. See, actually, Yoni's point is now that fudging is actually maybe relevant because he's now talking about a goy isn't believed to uproot a Jewish traditional halacha. Yoni can ask, what about a kafela that's not Gentile? Maybe he could. Okay, it's an interesting question, but that's not the way the Aruch HaShulchan is going. The Aruch HaShulchan is saying, I don't think it matters that he's a goy. I think, in my heart of heart, it tells me, I think what he's saying is, no person, no empirical evidence can tell me otherwise if Chazal tell me that this is not possible. I think that's what he's saying. I don't think it matters that he's a goy, although he does seem to talk about the ne'amanut, the mapitom, we rely on a Gentile to give us edut, and maybe that's only in certain cases. Not clear, but I think it's not clear what he's saying.
The ultimate truth is irrelevant once we have a halachic truth determined.
Right. Well, what about if we don't have a halachic truth determined? In other words, right. But yeah, if we don't have it determined yet, then he can't help us. Hachanami shatachton sonen lo nashkiach klal ba'amira hakafela. We won't listen to the chef. Now he uses the word chef. We won't listen to the words of the chef. Kevan de kaimel on Tata Gavar. We hold Tata Gavar, and we don't care what the chef is going to tell us as a flavor here. So he's basically saying that we can only rely on tasting. Let's take the chef and the people out, who they are. But let's say we can only rely on tasting where we know there's an isser here, and we just don't know how much. But we cannot rely on tasting to create an isser where there might not be one. We rely on Chazal to tell us if there's an isser. So, in other words, when milk falls into meat and it's boiling away, we know there's an isser there. We know there's a certain amount of isser originally got created when those first milk and meat touched. We know that there's actual milk there. But if there's Tata Gavar, maybe there's nothing there. Maybe it's cold and there's nothing there. We don't know if there's anything there. We don't know if there's any substance at all. That tasting is not going to tell us.
Could we not paraphrase this in a cynical way as to say, if we have a legal mechanism to do away with this issa, we do not need the opinion of another Kochavim. If we have no legal mechanism, we will ask his opinion, just in case he can matter.
I wouldn't say it only in the mechanism to matter it. It's also the mechanism to usher it. In other words, when we have a klal, we go by the klal. If we wouldn't have a klal, we would rely on him. But here we have a klal. Shmuel says Tata Gavar, and that's it. And Rav says Ilah Gavar. So we go by our Masorah, and the goy is not, or a human being or a chef is not going to create an isser. Now, I think that's what he's saying. We're just using him as a determinant of how much isser is there, but he cannot create an isser where there is none. Okay. Wait, is there more? There is more. V'od yesh lo, I had to read until 12. Right, in 12, v'od yesh lo. It's all worth reading. I don't know if we want to spend the time on reading it all. Yeah, go ahead.
The second part I thought was his other big question, which is, what about the proportions?
Right. So in 12 especially, he says, I'll look at 12. He says, V'yira li barur de mayri sheshavin hen bekamut. He says, if you have, he basically asks a balabatish kind of question, an obvious question, which is like, if you have a huge pot of cold milk and a piece of meat, of hot meat falls into it, well, no, that's a bad case. Let's say the other case. You have what is it? Yeah, a small pot of hot milk and a big piece of meat falls onto it. Then you're not going to say that the whole meat. What does it mean? Well, by the way, when we say Tata Gavar, what does that mean? It means that it's not a klipa. In other words, if we have hot milk and falls into a piece of meat, the meat is entirely aser, not just klipa, because the bottom was hot. But what if I have a frying pan with a thin layer of milk that's very hot, and a big 3 kilos of meat falls onto it? Am I going to aser the entire piece of meat because of that hot? Because now I say it's all hot, and the milk isn't 60. It's not a 60th. It's so it's going to aser the whole thing, and the whole thing got up. But we know you put your hand on the top of the meat; it's cold. That's his basic kasha. So he says, this whole din of Tata Gavar, Ve'ila Gavar, Ve'yirali Barur de Mayri B'Shavin hen B'Kamut V'Lefi Erech HaChalav Kenhu Gam Kamut HaBasar. They're both a liter of milk and a kilo of meat. V'Lechen Nechlechu Chazal האיכות של מי גובר, העליון או התחתון. The quality of which prevails. Because the quantity, the quantity would be the normal way. It's actually, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a halacha of the Egel Arufa, which it says in the Torah, you measure which city is closest to the goof. But Chazal say, well, wait a second, what if one city is New York and the other city is like a little tiny town? More likely, the person came out of New York, the more people there. So the Chazal say it goes by the town that's biggest. This is, well, what does the Torah say? The Torah says measure. It says, the Chazal say, oh, the Torah is telling you to measure where the two towns are exactly the same size. If they're the same size, then you have to measure. So we're doing the same thing here. When they're the same exact size, then we have a machlokas of Rav and Shmuel about what's Gavar. Ve'ifsach halacha da tachton gover. And he brings rayas to this. So, this is just a very, very important Aruch HaShulchan to know, because it limits tremendously the din of Tata Gavar. It's an interesting theoretical question, but it comes out, according to what he's saying, that it's very limited in its application. I wouldn't say it has to be exactly the same measure, but it's approximately the same measure. But if you know that one is much larger, then it's just going to be klipa. All right, that's the Aruch HaShulchan. And that's the Gemara. Machlokas, remember the Machlokas, Rabbeinu Tam and the Riva. Rabbeinu Tam says, when you can't take away the klipa, you don't have to. And the Riva says, when you can't take away the klipa, it's a problem. You need 60 to mevatel it. Okay.
Sorry, does that Aruch HaShulchan actually hold? He just ukimta the whole Tata Gavar to a very unusual case of equal quantities.
I can tell you this, that the Aruch HaShulchan is a posek. He's much more of a posek than the Mishnah Brura. He was a Rav posek in his town. The Mishnah Brura, is like more of an is more of like a work done by several people in Kolel. It's an encyclopedic kind of work, and he was not really a posek. But here, he is a posek, and people, Gedolim, rely on the Aruch HaShulchan. If you rely on the Mishnah Brura, then you can certainly rely on the Aruch HaShulchan. I haven't seen anyone argue on it, on this point. Whether anyone has discussed this point is a different question, but I haven't seen anyone argue on this point. And I would say that you could definitely rely on anything you read in Aruch HaShulchan. He was a tremendous genius, and he was a real posek. People came to him with shilas, and he really paskined. Whereas some other commentators are really academic. They're more just figuring out things from an academic point of view, even though they're all pretty much poskim. What we're looking at is all poskim. Okay, now we're into Daled. So let's look at Daled in the Shulchan Aruch. Atar, you want to read? So he paskins like who? Like Shmuel. Go ahead. So you just do klipa. Now read on. Explain.
Wow.
If you needed to,
If you had to do klipa and you didn't, and you took it anyway, your mother's in the beginning.
right.
It's weird. It's a big
It's-
clue.
It's a big kula. It's weird. We're gonna see. We're gonna get an explanation though. I like this Shach's explanation, but we're gonna have to explain this. It's a big problem. This statement here. By the way, did the Rivaz say that? The Rivaz said where you can't do it, like in milk. Sorry, not the Rivaz. Did the Rabbeinu Tam say that? Well, he said by the milk. Let's read on in the Shulchan Aruch though. V'achalav. Here, Atar.
Yeah, sorry.
Read just the last part of the Siman, of the Seif.
Right. ואם והחלב מותר, הוא לא.
That's who? Who's that opinion?
רמב"ם.
It's well. The key point is the Rabbeinu Tam. It says right. It says Rambam, Rabbeinu Tam, Ri v'od poskim. That's what everybody says. But it's Rabbeinu Tam, and it's not who? It's not the Rivah. Right? The Rivah said that the Chalav is not mutter. You need 60.
For whatever reason, I have Reish Ches.
It
Might be a mistake on
You're right. It does look like a Reish.
part of the
I also have Reish Chet, but I.
so it could be Rabbeinu Chana now.
Okay, it could be Rabbeinu Chananel, but I happen to know it's the Rabbeinu Tam. It could be Rabbeinu Chananel here, but I don't think so. You're right. It does look like it is a Reish Chet, but it should be Rabbeinu Tam, because we saw that is Rabbeinu Tam. That's what Rabbeinu Tam said against the Rivah. The Rivah said you need 60 for the milk to be mutter, and here he says hachalav mutar kulo. I will read the last part.
ואם נפלו זה לתוך זה צוננים, מדיח הבשר מותר.
So, right, that's like just finishing up. If it's both tonen, then you just rinse it. So, we're going to get into this question of what did the Ramah come to add? Because if we already have that we're passing like Rabbeinu Tam, Chalav Mutar Kulo, so he's not saying, he's not bringing up the Rabbeinu Tam, he's saying a different din. That because it's not that I couldn't take the klipa, I could have taken the klipa, but I was negligent. And now I cooked it. First of all, so let's look first at the Taz. The Taz, I'm looking in not in the Mareket, but in the regular. The Taz says, well, basically it's like this. The Taz says that the Rivah. Okay, first of all, the question is, what's the machlokas between the Rivah and Rabbeinu Tam? Why does one say you need 60 and one say you don't need 60? Let's ask that question. And why are they making that machlokat? Why do Rabbeinu Tam and the Rivah argue whether you need 60 or not? So the Taz gives a simple answer that the Rivah says that the din of klipa here is an actual din. It's a din. It's a din, and therefore you always have to deal with the klipa. Rabbeinu Tam says it's a chumrah. It's just a chumrah. And what do we see from the Gemara? The Gemara says ad mekar efshar de lo bala purta. In other words, as it cooled down, it must have absorbed something, but maybe very little, maybe almost nothing. In other words, it's not a definite din. There's something happened, but maybe it's something. In other words, the Gemara first wants to say you don't need to do anything, and then it says, well, it's got to have something. So it's like a chumrah, it's a chashash, it's a worry, but it's not an actual din, says Rabbeinu Tam. This is the explanation of the Taz. The problem is, there's a different problem. Okay, so that's you understand that's the idea of the Taz, that that it's a chumrah. And if you look actually in the Marechet, well, wait a second. We see that in a few places in our thing. If you look in the Mishpatzot Zahav on Zion, Mishpatzot Zahav on Zion, he says, the chiluk bein Tata Gavar the ein sarich klipa ela machmat chumra ba'alma mishum hachi shari. If you look at the Mishnah of Zahav, he says ayin b'taz ha'aroch he'erich l'stor zeh. The Taz basically says this din. I'm reading the Mishnah of Zahav. He says the Taz says this din is wrong. He wants to restore the din of the chalav being mutter. B'kol makom shetzarich klipa tzarich shishim neged klipa. If you didn't take the klipa, you need 60. So he's holding like the riva. So that old opinion comes back to life. Va'ayin b'magen Avraham hilchot Pesach Ot Lamed Gimel Dechilek bein Tata Gavar the ein sarich klipa ela machmat chumra ba'alma mishum hachi shari. He says the klipa here is only a chumra ba'alma, and that's why it's mutter when there's no 60. Says the Magen Avraham. So again, we're holding it as a chumra. The klipa is a chumra, and that's why the Rabbeinu Tam says we can be mekel. And now I want to look in Taz Zion, and if you skip quite a bit down in the Taz in Zion to where it says V'hinei Ramah, there's a little gimel with a square bracket by it in Taz Zion. You guys, I'll wait for you to find that. You see that?
We still in the Shulchan, or we're in the...
No, sorry. I went back to the regular Shulchan Aruch.
Where are we?
Sorry, we're in... Yeah, let's get... Alright, we're in the regular Shulchan Aruch. Taz Gimel. Taz Zion. But I don't want to read the whole thing. It's quite long. I want to go towards the end, where it's Gimel. There's a little Gimel with a bracket by it.
Sorry, where was his explanation?
In the Mishpasot Zahav Zion. That's right. It's also in, that's what I was mentioning, it's also in the Marechet HaShulchan. Where did I see it? I saw it in the Marechet HaShulchan. Yeah, it's in the Marechet HaShulchan in my edition in footnote 10. In footnote 10, or by you it might be footnote Yud or something, it says, Klipa zu have lo have ela chumra ba'alma midrabanan. V'safek yesh lahakel dahainu kishi yesh safek imnaf. Fine. He just calls it a chumra ba'alma, and he says in a safek you can be mekel. But you see that it's a chumra. That's in footnote Yud by me. And the same thing that I said in the Mishpat Zahav is kind of found in footnote 14 in the Marechet HaShulchan. But now I want to look at the Taz Zion, and I'm sort of down at the bottom where it says Hinei Ramah Pasak Kan, and there's a little gimel at the beginning of it. Hinei V'hinei Ramah Pasak Kan Ubetorat Chatat the Ein Sarich B'chalav Shishim Neged Klipa, that you don't need 60 against the Klipa. Yeah, everyone sees where I am? No? In my printing, it's like the fifth narrow line from the bottom, like where just 5 lines before it gets wide. In the Taz, Zion.
What's the first word in the line?
Dat Rashal, by me. But sometimes there are different editions. It's mine says Dat Rashal Lachmir. If you have an electronic edition, you can look for that. Dat, you can look Lahachmir, or no, actually look for Dat Rashal. Yeah.
I just put it on the chat window.
Okay. All right, I want to read it. V'hine Rama Pasak Kan the B'torat Chatat sorry. He pasked here and in his Torat Chatat he pasked Ein Tzarich B'chalav Shishim Neged Aklipa Alma Lo Sfira Le Kiriva. So that's showing that he's holding like Rabbeinu Tam, not like Riva. V'ken Pasak B'torat Chatat Klal Kaf Gimel De'im Ira Tavshil Kasher L'toch Kara Asura. The im irat tavshil, going back. The im irat tavshil kasher l'toch kara. If you poured some kosher food into a kara asura, into a treifa plate, mutter dahamidina ein tzarich rak klipa. You only need klipa. V'tema. So he says that sound. He says it's mutter there also because it's a klipa. V'tema. The besimen samich tet sif yud vav pasak. There he says you do need 60 against the klipa, like Riva. Vehem divrei Rashba sham bebeit Yosef v'ken pasak b'torat chatat klal yud bet v'hainu k'Riva nimsa devarav sotrim zeh et zeh. Seems like the Ramah is self-contradictory because in other places he's saying you need 60 against the klipa if you don't take it. And here he's saying, if you can't take it, it's batel. I want to skip a little bit, again, because it's a lot to read. And it says, go to where it says va'od raya. It's sort of his last proof. He's trying to prove that the Ramah really doesn't hold this din. He's trying to prove that this din that we're reading is not the opinion of the Ramah. And he says, "Va'od raya, mimasha kasav Ramah, v'hu mi iser v'heter ha'aruch." And he copied it from the iser v'heter ha'aruch, and it's in Siman Sadi Hey, Sif Gimel. De'im iru mikli rishon shel basar. If you poured from a kli rishon of basar al kli shel chalav onto a plate that's chalav. So you have irui mikli rishon, aser kulo. It's all aser. Ad kan l'shana. Va'af al gav de'ein irui oser yoter mikdei klipa. But we know that irui only makes a klipa forbidden. Mikol makom oser kulo. But he nevertheless says it's aser kulo b'makom she'ef shar l'kof, when you can't take a klipa. And then he brings for old raya. Mimasha katav Ramah b'simen sadi chet sif daled. Aval, that's sadi. That's right here actually. Sadi chet. That's the beginning of Tarovat. Aval im al yedei reticha malicha. There he talks about malicha being malicha causing klipa. You salted something that heats it up. The heating of the salt, and then you also have to do klipa. He says there you have to measure against the klipa. In other words, you need 60 against the klipa. So the Taz says that don't paskin like the Ramah. The Ramah is self-contradictory. The Ramah himself really paskins like Riva, and don't ignore what he writes here. Do ignore what he writes here. Don't listen to what he wrote in this Seif. That is the Taz's opinion. The Shach disagrees. That's why we have the Shach and the Taz. Right? So the first opinion is, how do you explain, first of all, how do you explain the contradictions? And the first answer is, you don't explain the contradictions. They're real contradictions, and we don't paskin like the Ramah here. That's the task. I just want to make one more point, which is, I sort of brushed over it, and I'm afraid I won't get to it, but I just want to say, is the Ramah, the Mechaber himself is also paskening like the Rabbeinu Tam, right? The Mechaber is the one who says the chalav is kulo mutar. The Ramah is taking it one step further, because the Rabbeinu Tam is only saying, if you can't take a klipa, then you don't have to. But the Ramah sounds like he's saying even one step further. If you could have and you didn't, and now it's too late, and now you can't, but it's your own fault, we're not going to be punishing you. I mean, again, we can ask the question, why is it you couldn't? Maybe you could just take the piece out and cut the klipa away. In other words, if that klipa was asur, remove it. I mean, you could say, well, maybe because you cooked it, it's like irrelevant now because it's spread into everything. But still, remove it. Let him say, remove it. Why does he say don't remove it at all? So on that note, that's actually going to be the key for the shach. Why doesn't the Ramah say, take the klipa from that piece of meat that you cooked when you shouldn't have? And I'm in shach chet, in the full shach chet, and it says venira. I'm halfway through about. It says venira de lo ka'amar. It's there's a little chet in front of it. In the shach siftei kohen chet. So again, we're getting into this machloket of how do we explain the contradiction in the different psikot, in the different psikot of the Ramah. And I'm in the shach, in chet. And it says venira, in the middle of chet. Venira de lo ka'amar harav de mekom shetzarich klipa de mekom shetzarich klipa ubishluhu. You needed to do klipa, and now you cooked it. Bishluhu below klipa, you do it without a klipa. Mutter, to mutter, b'di'evid. Ela dumya dahacha, the chalav, mutter. It's only in a case where it's similar to the chalav being mutter. Mitam shekatvu atosfot v'harosh, v'shara poskim, de lo shayich be klipa. It can only be where it's impossible to do klipa now. That's why he said don't do it. And when is that? Dahainu shehu davar hanivlal va'klipa nitarev ubeki hai gavna im nitpashel abasar below klipa v'nivlal be'inyan de'eno makiro v'lo shayich be klipa mutter b'di'evid. He says, the Shach says, this is not an extension at all of the din of the Rabbeinu Tam. It's a case, when he cooked it, it says he took the meat and he cooked it again. We all thought he's talking about you just took the meat and you put it in a pot with some water and you cooked it. He's saying no, it's a mikresha eno makiro. You can't recognize it. How come you can't recognize it? Because there are other pieces of meat. You're cooking it in a pot with 10 other pieces of meat. So now you don't know which one is the one you need to klipa on. We're not going to make you take klipa from every single piece that's there. That far we're not going to go. But this is the same case as the milk, because I can't find the klipa to take it off. It's not an extension at all. And he's matir it because of this reason. And then he goes on, V'hashta nicha had katav stam mutter b'diavad de'imekiro, because this makes sense now why he says that it's muttered, because if it would be demekiro, if he would have known which one, havalei lifarish de klipa miha boy, because if you would know which piece it is, then you would have to take the klipa off. Kamosha katav b'siman ayin bet sif katan chet Aval kishenit bashel va'adayin mekiro be'inyan sheshayach be'klipa tzarich 60. If you cooked it and you could take klipa off, then you would need 60. V'ken mashma ktsas be'iser v'heter aruch klal kaftet din bet l'medakdek sham v'ayin sham. V'hashta nicha hada katav harav b'haga'a siman sadichet sif daled. And now I can explain why the Ramah paskin differently over in Sadichet, in the beginning of Tarovet, Din Daled, by Malicha. So this is the key point now. He's also going to explain, he says the case is a little bit different from what we thought, and now he's going to explain the contradiction in the Ramah. He says, Sadichet, Sif Daled, Dikli Shenesar b'malicha k'dei klipa tzarich acharkach shishim. There he said that a kli that was forbidden because of malicha process, because of salting, which salting only heats it up to a k'dei klipa, and there it said you needed 60, ayin sham, ulefi zeh ein lahakel b'makom shemekiro. He says, well, that's a place where you know where the klipa is. It's in that wall of that pot. V'shayach klipa, and it's shayach klipa. So of course you need 60. So in other words, he says by the pot, go ahead and do hagala. In other words, that we're going to make you do hagala, kasha the pot. But here we've got 10 pieces. We don't know which one. We're not going to make you do klipa on all of them. And this actually fits. I remember now. There's another halacha that we're going to get to later in a different siman that talks about like mixing. If you have salty pieces, maybe we learned this already actually. If you have a salty piece and it touches many pieces and you don't know which, then the halacha is the Ramah gives this din that it's batel, that all the klipas are batel because you don't know how many klipas there are and they all mix together. We're not going to make, and he says, and you don't have to take a klipa from all those different pieces. So actually the shach fits to the Ramah probably pretty well. So again, let's summarize what the shach said. The shach said it's not a contradiction. The Ramah only allows when the klipa cannot be seen or discovered, i.e. that's the case of our Siman, where it's cooked with other pieces. But where it is discoverable, in all those other cases that the Taz brought, where he's machmir, is because you know where it is. And then you have to take it, and if you don't take it, you need 60. So that's the solution of the shach. The Magen Avram gives a third solution, which is kind of what I hinted to already in those places that I mentioned in the. It's mentioned in a few places in the Magen Avram. It's in the Mishpasot Zahav that we saw. It's also in Chidushei Rabbi Akiva Eger, brought in Vav. But I'll just tell you outside. It's brought in Vav in Chidushei Rabbi Akiva Eger. You can write down. He says the Magen Avram. It's really in Hilchos Psachim in Orach Chaim where the Magen Avram talks, and he says that the klipa, if Tata Gavar, is a chumrah. In other words, he says we saw that already, that this klipa is a chumrah by Tata Gavar, but not all klipas are created equal. The klipa by malicha is a real din. In other words, here the Gemara just said, like I sort of was explaining before, it just says, as it got cold, it must have absorbed something. By malicha, the klipa that's required by salting, it's actually heating it up, and it's kind of like it says malicha kabishul dami. Malicha is like cooking, and so we say, well, it's not totally like cooking. It's only going to do it klipa. So klipa there is kind of a kula. We might say that the whole thing is aser. We say no, it's just klipa is aser. It's cooking, but only until klipa. But that klipa is a real din, because salt is really like cooking. But this klipa is of Tata Gavar is really just a chumrah. It's just saying, the two. Let's take the Aruch HaShulchan. The two pieces are equal, okay, is it cooled a little bit, transferred, maybe. But maybe nothing transferred. So here it's just a chumrah. That's the Magen Avram's answer. And now the final answer is Rabbi Akiva Eiger.
Sorry, where was the Magen Avram in Pesach?
It's in Hilchos Pesach, so to find the source, you can look in Rabbi Akiva Eiger Vav, and he says, Siman Taf Samach Zayin, Sif Katin Lamed Gimel. I didn't actually read the Magen Avram, I just relied on what I read in the Rabbi Akiva Eiger, and it's brought in, it's also brought in the Ber Heitev, it's brought in a few places, but that's the source. Siman Taf Samach Zayin, Sifkatin Lamed Gimel. And you can see that in Rabbi Akiva Eiger Vav. But now Rabbi Akiva Eiger himself has a different answer. And yeah, Rabbi Akiva Eiger, I'm a big fan of Rabbi Akiva Eiger. so it's not. I like this answer. He gives. Let's see this answer. It's in Rabbi Akiva Eiger. By me, it's a hay with an asterisk on it. Do you guys see that? Josh, are you there? Hi. Your picture is where you were, so it looks like you're there. But you're not. You're very still, or your picture froze. All right. Hey, look at Rabbi Akiva Eiger. Kedusha Rabbi Akiva Eiger. Not hey, but the one after it is hey asterisk. And I'm skipping down a couple lines again, and you can see where it says mem mem. Vav and then mem with like a quote sign, quotation marks. He says like this: Umakom makom efshar lomar the dafka be'isur basar b'chalav the leka isur duraita the lo have derech bishul. The Adamikarale Bala the Adamikarale Bala Lo Have Rak Balia. Okay. Explain that. I'll be right back. I just have to do something. Look at that. My baby's crying. Look at those first words. That's the answer. See if you can figure out see if your job is to figure out what he's saying there.
Subsection I couldn't find the asterisk that he was talking about.
Yeah.
Last line, and we come makom harama pasak makama basar chalav abdullah. Is that what you're reading?
I couldn't find where it was.
I thought it was just about the fact that you clicked out
Hi. All right. Who's got something?
I'm trying to find where you were reading.
Oh. Well, who has where I was reading? That's also a challenge. You can read the whole thing. You want to read the whole thing from the beginning. I didn't skip that much. Hey tzad, hey asterisk. You see that one? Ubemakom shabasar tzarich klipa im lo kilfuhu. You see that?
Yeah.
Ma de lo katav bekitzer im lo kifluhu. Why did you just write im lo kiflu if you didn't peel it? Daha hamechaber ka'amar kolef abasar va'ala shayach le minchat im lo kilfuhu va'tevot elu ubemakom shabasar tzarich klipa. So why does he have that? Mutar daha Allah ka'amar ve'efshar debalomar de lo bilvad bezed de Tata sonen ela af hecha de munachim ze al etzel ze. It's not just in the case of Tata Gavar, but even in a case of next to each other. There too, if you didn't do the klipa, it'll be mutter. Fine. Who the
So I'm sorry. Maybe other people know where we're reading. Can you just what is the Dibur Machil of this one? I know you say hey asterisk, but that's not how it is in Bar-Ilan. Can you just read the
Ubamakom shabasar tzarich klipa im lo kilfuhu. Or lahat. Just go to hey. It's hey. Lahaticha below rotav.
I
Yeah.
don't know if this is helpful on Bar-Ilan, but it was 2 pages before where we were reading in my book. So it might be earlier rather than later what you're looking at.
It's hey. It's basically hey. I mean, there's Hidushay Rabbi Akiva Eger. There's Dalid, which is a filu matzah mechamin. There's Bet. There's Gimel, which is bekol gavna yesh le'esur. Gimel is bekol gavna yesh le'esur. Dalid is afilu matzah bechamin. Hey is laticha below rotev.
okay?
And right after, the laticha below rotev by me is like one line.
Right.
And then right afterwards I have ubamakom sha'basar tzarich klipa im lo kilfuhu. That's the way I have it.
Yeah, we don't have it.
You don't have it?
Not in Bar-Ilan.
Uh-huh. What do you have? And you have Venera, there's the next one?
Yes, exactly.
Where it says Magen Avram. Alright, well,
Yep.
you just convinced me why I'm happy I have the action. It's interesting. I thought, I should buy Bar-Ilan, and I haven't bought it. And I mean, every year I mean to buy it, I never do. But now I see that
But
it's...
it's not just them, that's what I see in it. But I'm reading inside.
Well, I got this book. It's a good book.
Bahir. It's obviously not in the Bahir.
So I'll read it to you. I'll try to read it to you nicely. Isaac, you have it?
Yeah, I got the Makom Shabasar Tzarich Klipa.
Okay. So I'll try to read it clearly and translate it slowly. He says, Efshar lomar, it's possible to say, Tidafka be'isur basar b'chalav, that only by basar b'chalav, the leka isur deraita, that basar b'chalav is not an isur deraita in such a case. In such a case of Tata Gavar, it's not an isur deraita basar b'chalav. Why? Delo have derech bishul, because by basar b'chalav we require derech bishul asra Torah, and you don't cook something by taking a cold piece of chicken and putting on top of it a hot piece of milk or whatever, a cold piece of beef. That's not derech bishul. So therefore, this is not an isur deraita at all. Only derech bishul. The lo have derech bishul. The ademekar bala. The ademekar bala. That this concept of absorption while it's cooling down, lo have rak blia. That's only blia. That's just some kind of absorption, but not cooking. In other words, there's a difference between absorbing a flavor and being cooked together. Cooking is, by milk and meat we require cooking. By Isser, it could be Isser even if there's no cooking, but just there's a Belia, an absorption. Ubamunachim ze etzel ze, and when they're next to each other and they're not on top, v'hukar yesh lomar degam kein lo mikri derech bishul. And also, if one is cold and they're next to each other, that's also not derech bishul. Wait, Josh, put off your mic because it's giving a hiccuping sound. Just let me skip. So that's what Rabbi Akiva basically is saying. He says here it is a chumrah, because milk and meat requires derech bishul, and since there's no derech bishul here, there's really no isser at all, and therefore the requirement of klipa is only a chumrah. But by an isser, it would be a real din. So that's Rabbi Akiva Eger's answer. He's saying the reason why the Ramah is mekel here is because it's hilchos basar b'chalav. In Tzadichet, where he was machmir, that was by isser. It was by a salty piece of pork. And there's belia, that is a real belia. So it's a little different from the Magen Avram. The Magen Avram was saying that it's a different kind of the power. The power of the belia the power of the absorption is less whenever it's Tata Gavar, whenever it's a case of something getting cold. And salting is more powerful. Here he's saying, no, the distinction is not by the power of the agent, but the distinction is by the materials involved. If the materials are milk and meat, and it's not derech bishul, then it's only d'Rabbanan. And when a klipa is d'Rabbanan, if you can't do it, the Ramah is mekel, and that explains the contradictions in the Ramah. So it comes out basically that the Taz is left alone disagreeing with the Ramah. Everybody comes to bat for the Ramah, whether it's the Shach, the Magen Avram, or Rabbi Akiva Eger, with their three different explanations. So that's kind of the din. I think we should the main takeaway is that this klipa is a chumrah for a variety of reasons, and therefore, if it wasn't done or can't be done, you don't need 60, and that sort of explains the Rabbeinu Tam's opinion, as opposed to the Riva. I mean, there's some slight differences between the different explanations that we saw, because the Shach said if you can get it out, then you still do have to get it out. And as he says, only because there were many pieces. If you cooked it with other pieces, but if you cooked it by itself, maybe you would have to take the klipa according to the Shach. Whereas according to Rabbi Akiva Eger, it's still not a real klipa, so maybe you don't have to take it in that case. Okay, that's it. Next week, Rabbi Landis is back, and he will do from hay. Hay is he'll probably just do hay. Hay is quite big, and it's a big discussion about salting and different things. It's a very big topic. Malicha ke'ein roteach. Malicha is like cooking. Or fine. How much? It's all about malicha. So I'll leave that for next week.
Thank you.
Sure. Shukayach. Shavua Tov.
The ki'ara, upon which the salting was done.
Yes.
Does it matter whether that's ben yomo or not ben yomo?
The ke'ara on which the salting is done.
Your fish.
You're back to which?
According to Shmuel, who ate the fish in the Gemara and Chuli, if that plate.
You're talking about the hot fish that were put. You're talking about kli sheni now. Yeah.
Well, you put the fish directly on the plate, and the plate was used to salt the meat.
Right. It's called kli sheni. That's considered kli sheni because the plate itself is cold. Right. It's related. It's similar to Tata Gavar, right? Because it's cold plate and it's heated up, but the fish is hot. Yeah?
Yeah.
So what's your question?
So is there a time limit to the amount of hazakah that plate has in order to transmit? So you salted
Yes.
meat and the meat was asur. So what was left on that
Yeah,
plate?
that plate was
If
that.
you wash that plate, would there still be any bliot?
Yes, there would be if the plate was used within 24 hours. If it's Eino Ben Yomo, if it's only Noten Tam of Gam, then it's not going to wake up just because it's salty fish.
Okay, right.
But
That's what I wanted to know. I couldn't find that in the shop.
in the pshat, yeah, I understand what you're saying. The plate is a Ben Yomo. If it's Eino Ben Yomo, it's not a problem.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Okay, sure. Take care. Good night.
Can I just say something about that Ramah?
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Rav Moshe remark that nobody ever had any problem with his machmir stocks. But it's like this is one of the occasions where the Ramah is being more makel than Mechaber, and everybody, no, you can't possibly have said that.
Ah.
Everybody,
Well, you'd have to be a very big bucky to make a thesis that nobody argues on him when he's more machmir, but they always argue on him when he's more makel. That would be. I don't know if you can really make that
it's
thesis.
the last word. When he's machmir, he seems to get the last word.
What?
When he's machmir, there doesn't seem to be such a general uproar.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. He's being makel. Right. I don't think that there's such an uproar. I think really they're just trying to understand why he's saying what he's saying. And they are a bit surprised that he's makel. I mean, the Taz was upset. Taz is very upset by it. I don't think that everybody else is just dealing with the Taz, I think. Everyone else is just seeing that the Taz is so upset and trying to come up with a better explanation that can satisfy him. That's the way I see it. But I hear what you're saying. That in general, you're right. People like chumras. People, when they hear a kula, they get excited. They get unsettled.
It's not an isolated case. There are loads of cases where the Ramah is more lenient than the opinion of the Shulchan Aruch.
For sure, but to make the thesis that in those cases there's more of an uproar, I don't know. You'd have to check every single, I don't know how you would determine that. But here he contradicts himself. Here's an interesting case. That's why we spent a lot of time on it. It's an interesting case because he contradicts what he says in other places about whether you need 60 or not. While we were learning, I remember this other case where he is saying the same thing, that you don't need the 60, and I should find that. Maybe Rachel remembers from last year. There was a case like that. There was a case of like lots of pieces